This is Nick Bowersox, and this will be my CIS 604 course project presentation for Park University. And in this briefing, we will briefly go over the organization and the project selected, and then we'll talk about the remaining primary components of the project management plan, as you can see them listed out here. We'll also take a minute to talk about the characteristics of effective program managers and finish with the references at the end. So the organization that I selected was the Department of Defense, specifically the U.S. Air Force, and more specifically it's the organization I work for, the Air Force Sustainment Center, the LGSA division or branch, I guess we would say. The primary stakeholders for this effort include the director for AFSC LG, the AFSC LGS front office group, as well as the project team. The primary project that will be done is an IT project upgrade. So every few years, employees get new telephones, computers, portable hard drives for big data purposes for the various employees that work within LGS. For the executive summary of the project, some top-level details. It's a completion time of 54 days. The budget is a little over $35,000. Some of the primary assumptions going into the effort is that all the equipment needed for the upgrade can be acquired from the vendor in a timely manner. The project team is capable of handling all the tasks. The work's done on a 9 to 5 timeline every day, Monday through Friday, until complete. The budget allocated will be appropriate. And a few of the main constraints are that within the budget for each Air Force's color of money, so the Air Force has colors of money of how we spend things. That's kind of an Air Force term. I won't go into that here, but it's important to note that the purchases are made with the proper color of money, so violations federally do not occur. Another constraint is that there's limited network access to certain areas of the office for the program team. In terms of the scope, a detailed WBS was created spanning the 54-day time frame. Within that WBS, we discussed the task name, the duration of the task, the start date, the finish date, the predecessors, resource names, as well as the cost. There were nearly 100 rows when the entire WBS was finished. The primary elements of the WBS include project initiation, procurement, the network upgrade stage, connecting with gateways, testing, deployment, maintenance, and final approval, and last, project closure. So in terms of stakeholders, they're listed here in this table. We can see that we have a business head, a software engineer, a system administrator, a procurement manager, and then the applicable technology will be purchased from Hewlett-Packard. So they're the vendor in this entire project. For each of these stakeholders, not only do we have the title that I also mentioned, but the role that they play in the project and any notes that are applicable to each of them also. Once again, as I mentioned, the primary budget was over $35,000, and this particular chart shows the breakout based on each element of the WBS, each primary element. And so you can see for each element here, we have the number of days that it's estimated to take, as well as the associated cost. In terms of quality management, it's important to have some form of quality control with any type of project, especially IT. And so here we're going to do a few test cases. Test cases essentially comprise of a few steps executed on the IT infrastructure utilizing the input data. And so we're just testing to see if everything works as should be. In the actual report, I list several test cases. I just show a snapshot of one here. So the test case name is the replacement of old hardware with new devices. We describe what that means, as well as the steps for the test case. the expected versus actual results, and then of course based on the difference between the expected and actual, does it pass or does it fail? We also developed in this project plan a communication matrix. Most of the communication, as you can see, will take place through meetings or emails, albeit monthly, weekly, or daily, between the various primary stakeholders that are involved in this effort. A risk management plan was also developed. Risks were identified and described based on their likelihood, their impact, the mitigation strategy, as well as the contingency. And so I show you one sample risk from the actual project management plan. The risk being insufficient communication, the probability that happening is low, the impact if it does occur is quite high, and of course you can see the mitigation strategy for it. Here we also have the resources that are needed as well as the procurement strategy. In lieu of time, I won't go through all these, but they are detailed out in the project plan. And then characteristics of effective program managers. These are oftentimes just characteristics of any good leader. They need to have good team building skills, be enthusiastic about the work, be good problem solvers, optimistic about the road ahead. They need to be good at leadership, but also at technical expertise. That's very important. Maintain their composure under pressure. And there's more things we could add to this list, but I think I get a pretty good encapsulation here of what an effective PM is. And then to wrap it up, I included a screenshot of the references used in this project. There are a lot of them included, so they take up 2 different PowerPoint charts. And that is my presentation.